days here, Stephanie.
Jogging their memories, they don't need to. Now it's happening real time. Back with me, Eddie Glaude and Noah Rothman. Eddie, I got to get your reaction to this.
Our history always haunts. We don't know what the investigation has to play itself out. We don't know what's motivating it. There are these incidents, events that happen in our lives that trigger history, a history that we haven't gotten beyond. So to see churches burn strikes at the heart of the ugliness of who we are, not who we were, but who we are.
I want to turn to a different kind of violence.
Can I just briefly address this, however? So these are heinous crimes, and we should treat them like heinous crimes. They are alleged until they are proven, and they are impartiality and dogged pursuit of the facts. But in 2016, you had an arson attack and vandalism attack on black churches, and the intent was to make people think that the bad old days were well and truly back. And that's what was broadcast. The pervasive effort by these people was to make us think that this was the result of Donald Trump's election. And nobody went back and said we were wrong when they were convicted, and some pleaded guilty.
Some folks did.
So it's not responsible to say at the outset.
This is really important. This is not responsible for you to take statistically insignificant moments and read them writ large. Over the course of American history, over the course of modern American history, church burnings that were done in the name of whatever these folks did recently is about that much. It's about that big. It's statistically insignificant. But yet in your book and in this moment, you want to generalize it to call into question a basic point that I was making, that when you see something like this, it triggers history. And part of what you have to do, Noah, when you make these sorts of moves is to understand what you're minimizing in that moment. So even as we're talking about these churches in this instance, it's not the case that it's Dylann Roof and what happened in Charleston, but it's connected in the psyche. And when the evidence comes out, then we can move forward. But you can't generalize from the moments in which people lied and did whatever they did to the whole thing in order to destabilize and to dismiss it. You have to be very, very careful here. Otherwise, you sound very...
We certainly should be careful, more careful than respectfully I think you're being. To do so would be to broadcast a killer's manifesto. That is not what responsible broadcasters do.
I said initially we have to see what the investigation reveals, but this triggers whenever we see a church, because history haunts. The thing is that you don't want to take seriously that history.
But here's what we have to do. Pay attention to the that this is happening. We'll find out what the investigation reveals, but we need to share this important story in a small part of the country that matters to all.